Okay, I'm really excited because today is Saturday, which means that I have a day to myself, and that for me always means it's a She is Courageous work day. I'm gonna be hopefully finishing and recording my next podcast episode, which is going to be about hell. And it is a very exciting topic. I was really nervous about it, and I didn't know how it was going to come across, if it was going to be kind of like feel uncomfortable and unfinished. But the more that I have studied it, the more I'm just really excited about this topic, because I feel like it speaks more about God's character than we really give it credit to. Which I know sounds crazy, and I don't want to give away all of the spoilers of the episode. But I just wanted to show you guys what the planning looks like and how it looks when I'm getting ready for something like this. This is totally new for me, and so I have had to really step into a lot of research, a lot of study, and really ask the Lord, like, okay, what's your voice on this, and what does this show about your nature and your character? Because hell is difficult, and it kind of is like this ambiguous part of our faith where it's like, well, where is God's loving nature come into play with this? And I don't think a lot of people, maybe I'm wrong, but I have not found a lot of people who have done a great job at explaining this topic. Even some of my favorite pastors, like, they don't really explain it in a way that helps you understand and make peace with the fact that hell is real. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I'm so excited. I am going to kind of show you what I've been up to, and then later today, as I finish up my episode, I'm going to record it, and I'll kind of let you in on a sneak peek of that. So let's go. So let me show you kind of my workspace. This is my desk, and you can see my podcast equipment back there. I know it's like focused on me. You can see my desk, and I kind of do a lot of study from my bed, actually. I like to be comfortable. My throat has been kind of raspy today. I don't know why. I think it's allergies. Hopefully I will stop doing that. Okay, so welcome to my workspace. Let me turn this around so you can see. I have been taking a lot out of this big old book here. Christian Theology. I had this when I was in school, and it is really great for some hard questions that I've had. I recently just got a new Bible that I am loving because it is Systematic Theology Study Bible. How men's Bibles are always more detailed and in-depth than women's Bibles. And so I realized that the other day and was like, why do we not get all of these great detailed study guides? Like, we don't get all of this stuff. I have a lot of beautiful scripted verses, but that doesn't help me get closer to understanding God. So I bought this very ugly Bible. Actually, it's growing on me. It's kind of cute. It's black leather. I never ever in a million years would have opted for that because I usually go for aesthetics, and now I'm learning that aesthetics mean absolutely nothing. So, okay, let's turn this back around. This, I'm not done yet. This is literally all of the research that I've done so far. I'm almost done with it. So you can see it's a lot of content. I'm trying to condense it as much as I can, but hell is one of those topics where you want to make sure you do a good job. You know, like, there are a lot of questions about hell. There are a ton of questions about hell. And so I took this, as I was like studying for this, I wanted to take those questions and form my content around those really hard questions. So some of them that I had to wrestle through was like, why would a loving God create hell? A really hard question was, why would God send people to hell for eternal suffering and pain and misery for one lifetime worth of sin? Because it kind of feels a little harsh, right? I don't know why I keep doing that. I do my best at answering all these questions, but I think something that like I've been hitting on a lot lately is there are parts of our faith that we will never really get a full answer for. And it's a common thread of all the people who I have researched about, like studying archaeology and how archaeology relates to the Bible and proves the Bible or doesn't disprove the Bible, and people who have proved the authority of the Bible. Like the common thread is that skeptics will always try to tell them that it's not enough proof. You know, like people who don't believe the existence of God, like I feel like there will never be enough for them to stand on and definitively say, okay, yes, the Bible's real. But it makes sense that it wouldn't. You know, like it makes sense that why would God give us 100% evidence of him and of our faith? Because with that, then there is no faith element. Like when Jesus goes back to the disciples after he's resurrected, he talks to Thomas, doubting Thomas, and he says, look, feel, touch my scars, touch the holes in my hands and my feet. He says, blessed are you, like you believe because you see, but blessed are those who believe what they don't see. And that like is our Christian faith. It's choosing to see what we can see and letting our faith carry us the rest of the way. So that's how I feel about hell. I feel like I've gotten like 90% there of being able to answer all the questions. But for the rest, people just have to be okay with knowing that, you know, we can't answer everything, because if we did, then there would be no need for faith. So anyways. Now I'm going to wrap up my studying and then we will get to recording. Okay, I just finished editing my script, finishing out all the research, and we are now ready to record. I did a quick mic check. Testing. Hello. Okay, perfect. Sounds good. I got my notes pulled up. Here we go. Let me get to the top of this. Where's the top of this? And now I am ready to go. So here we go. We're going to talk about hell. Are you ready? Faith requires us to trust God when there are gaps in our understanding. It's in these moments that you have to choose to trust that you know who God is and rely on his nature and character more than what you see him doing. So when we ask the question, why would a loving God create hell? We have to frame it in the context that we know he is a loving God. The person without relationship with God and without really knowing God might picture him as far off and seated in his heavenly throne, unbothered by the agony humankind suffers. But Genesis 6:6 says that sin and evil grieved the Lord. The New Living Translation tells us that it broke his heart. Sin tore a gaping hole in his plan to dwell among us. But instead of giving up on mankind, he devised a way to redemption. Have you ever thought about the fact that when mankind fell into sin, God's plan of redemption eventually ended with his own death? That our perfect God died and sent himself to hell to save people from it. The Bible is the long story of the time it took for God to get his people from the fall to the cross. Through it all, God remained with them, even when they ran from him, even when they disobeyed. What's even more beautiful is that every disobedient act, every fall, every tragedy, every sin was worked into the plan for redemption. Jesus' bloodline is filled with instances of sin. David lusted after Bathsheba, and it was their son that was the next king. Before that, Boaz, the hero of our favorite love story in the Bible, is the son of Rahab the prostitute. God doesn't just tolerate us in our sin, he works with us. He intertwines himself with us. God not only chose to stay close to humanity, but he chose to become humanity and suffer on the same pitiful level as we did, dying a death worse than any of us will probably ever experience, so that he could create a way back to him and away from hell. I want a snack really bad. I up, Lucy? Podcasting takes forever and it's really hard. This is a labor of love. I probably put like a billion hours into this episode, so I really hope it pays off. I hope people like it. I hope it helps people. Okay, here it is, 16. I found it. Since I'm taking a little break, I love this verse, and I feel like it speaks so much to God's love for us. I just got this Bible, so it took me a minute to find it, but it says, I just love this story, and it sounds terrible, but just the way that God chooses to put himself with it's such a pitiful picture, but he chooses to cover and protect Israel. And it's in Ezekiel 16. Listen to this. Your origin and your birth are of the land of the Canaanites. Your father was an Ammonite and your mother a Hittite. And as for your birth, on the day you were born, your cord was not cut, nor were you washed with water to cleanse you, nor rubbed with salt, nor wrapped in swaddling cloths. No eye pitied you to do any of these things to you out of compassion for you, but you were cast out on the open field. For you were abhorred on the day when you were born. And when I passed by you and I saw you wallowing in your blood, I said to you in your blood, live. I said to you in your blood, live. I made you flourish like a plant of the field, and you grew up and became tall and arrived at full adornment. Your breasts were formed and your hair had grown, yet you were naked and bare. When I passed by you again and saw you, behold, you were at the age for love, and I spread the corner of my garment over you and covered your nakedness. I made my vow to you and entered into a covenant with you, declares the Lord, and you became mine. Then I bathed you with water and washed off your blood from you and anointed you with oil. I clothed you also with embroidered cloth and shod you with fine leather. I wrapped you in fine linen and covered you with silk, and I adorned you with ornaments and put bracelets on your wrist and a chain on your neck. And I put a ring on your nose and earrings in your ears and a beautiful crown on your head. Thus you were adorned with gold and silver, and your clothing was of fine linen and silk and embroidered cloth. You ate fine flour and honey and oil. You grew exceedingly beautiful and advanced to royalty. And your renown went forth among the nations because of your beauty, for it was perfect through the splendor that I had bestowed on you, declares the Lord. Like how God, and from there it goes downhill because Israel chooses to pursue other gods and uses the gifts that God gave, that he gave them to turn away from him and to lure and lust after other nations and other gods. But just that picture of like feeling so like Israel, or the picture, even you can relate this to like people who just are so desperately needing God, and the pitiful mess we make of ourselves, that God comes alongside us and he gives us everything. He makes her royalty, and he wills us to live, and he comes and he brings this life. And it's like, how can you look at stuff like this and think God wants you to go to hell, or he wants people to suffer and go to hell, and that he doesn't care? Like, he cares. He no one else cared, and he cares. You know what I mean? So anyways, I just love that verse. I think it's such a good verse. It's not a verse, it's a chapter. Ezekiel 16. Okay. God still devises a way. And when you think about how God has chosen to stick with people, like, hell seems so insignificant, because if you grasp the reality of what God has done for us, I don't know, it just seems hard to not respond to that. And I know not everyone does. And I know that people are turned off by God, and I would challenge you and challenge people, Christians, to say that perhaps that's because of the way we're talking about God. The God of the Bible is a God that has gone to the utmost ends of the earth to express his love for us. And I feel like the failure comes when we focus on such a tiny, stupid little area as hell. The eternal judgment has nothing on the love of God. If we would just connect people to Jesus and show them who God is and how he loves them, and help them have the tools to encounter him for themselves, God will do the rest of the work. Our job is to show people what he looks like, what he feels like, what he smells like, how he acts, not to force someone to change their behavior, not to scare them into following our rules, but to show people who God is, to give God the glory, to represent him on the earth as best as we can. And this topic has so often been a deterrent in our faith, and that's why I wanted to just break it open and talk about it, shed some light on it. And like I feel like it has been a redemptive topic for me, because now I see how cool it is that Jesus went to hell for us. You know, that was kind of a mind blower for me. I don't know why it didn't click before, but just seeing that was very cool. All right, that episode is recorded, and now I'm just gonna have to edit it. I'm really excited to see how you enjoyed it. If you listened to it, please let me know what you thought about it. Did it answer your questions for you? Do you have any lingering questions, or any feedback would be so welcome. My heart is just so much about helping people see God more clearly and learn how to represent him, because he holds up with all of these hard questions. And I've personally loved getting to see that for myself as I've researched this. So thank you for watching this. I hope that you will enjoy the podcast. If you like this video, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up, and then subscribe so that you can see when my new videos go up. Please also, if you want to share it with a friend, I would love that. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.